Hi, welcome back. In this unit, we're going to look at this quite interesting topic of death and dying related to dreams. And obviously, we have to understand to start with that some part of our being understands that dying is really a transition to something else, just moving to another level of experience. And this is also how death in our dreams can be understood. Let's look at a few things here. Dying means leaving the scene, moving on to something else. So if we have a number of subpersonalities on a stage, actors on a stage, sometimes they are coming in, sometimes they are leaving. It's just a part of your personality, one subpersonality that is moving on to something else, leaving the stage. Indicates change or transformational process. If you dream about dead animals or any other element that appears to be lifeless, without life, this is likely to refer to a neglected, hurt, or repressed part of your being. In this little dream here, I dream that I am with a group of friends. They're talking about a young woman we all know, even if we haven't seen her for a while. She's not around, but we're talking about the fact that she died. I am surprised to hear that she has died. So this indicates that a corresponding subpersonality has left the inner stage. Whatever she represents, that subpersonality, it is moving out of the dreamer's whole personality. A quality, an aspect that moves out, that disappears. Even if there are some tears and feelings related to the idea of separation, because at some level of our dream, maybe we don't grasp the metaphor, and a part of us thinks, oh, that's sad, doesn't understand the dream. That's always the case. There's some kind of dream confusion that exists between different levels of understanding of our dream inside our own dream experience. The whole point when faced with the death of a character in a dream is to identify exactly what is being projected on that element, what exactly is being transformed or released. So in this particular case, we had this conversation with this dreamer. Who is that person? I used to be close to her, but I haven't seen her for a while. So what specific quality do you see in her? What do you project on her? She was blamed by my friends for being quite critical and negative. Can you identify anything in you that is critical and negative? Yes, especially towards myself. I have guilt feelings. Can you observe a changing process related to that part of yourself? Yes, indeed, I realize I am letting go of my guilt feelings. So we had that conversation that fully confirmed that this indeed is how you can understand this kind of dream. It's just one quality, one aspect of your personality that is being transformed. So it's leaving the stage. That's how you can understand it. Let's look at another example. A man, 37. I am in the street, walking along with a schoolmate from my middle school years. A gentle guy whom I haven't had any contact with since that time. But all of a sudden, this guy aggresses and kills a passerby with a gun, and then he runs away. I find myself calling the police and denouncing him. Later, I realize my friend is in prison with a life sentence, and I feel guilty to have denounced him. When I visit him in prison, I see he is guarded by men in business suits with gelled hair, looking like yuppies. Now you can, if you want, have a go at reformulating this dream before moving on. My reformulation: I am on my life path, in the street, in my outer environment, aware of a part of me that looks nice and gentle, like this guy. But I see myself, that part of me, nice and gentle, all of a sudden behave very aggressively, killing, towards somebody in my professional environment, which I then totally deny and ignore. The part of me that kills is totally ignoring what he has done, running away. I feel guilty about my behavior. My inner sense of order and integrity, the police, cannot accept it. So I realize I will never forgive myself for this act. In prison, with a life sentence, strong judgment, inner punishment, guilt feelings. I feel really bad about this. There is an inner conflict. I have denounced him. I have called the police. So there is some kind of inner conflict. I realize my aggressive professional attitude is a result of my professional ambition. That is the man in business suits guarding this guy in prison. They are the one who keep him there. So what is this dream telling him? Certainly bringing to his awareness something that he feels. He is aware that there is some kind of conflict between a part of him that is in fact nice and gentle, but a very aggressive attitude in business. He doesn't hesitate to kill his competitors, although he's a nice guy. And sometimes he feels guilty about that. The professional environment is extremely competitive and ruthless. We are killing each other. We don't care about the other people's success. Killing, so-called killing. It's in fact just being very selfishly involved in competition, winning. The other is losing. That's the killing. Are there resource elements? Not clearly. But the dream is clearly inviting to possibly lift the conflict and maybe make other choices in his life so that he can be more compassionate towards the others, respecting other people's positions, needs, also successes. So how to switch from a competitive life to a more cooperative and caring living. This is a big issue that we individually have to face with and collectively have to face with. Our dream world is an uninhibited environment. That means that we can experience very strong emotions, and also that our usual moral restrictions are lifted. So we are ruthlessly going to aggress or kill other people or rape. There is no moral filter in our dreams. Everything seems to be allowed. We can be walking naked. We can be experiencing the wildest sexual fantasies. It's all allowed, but it all has to be understood as metaphors. It's not to be understood literally. Here, a man, 38, my grandmother is suddenly being killed by a thief, which I then try to arrest. I have a fight with the thief, and finally I succeed in dominating him. I feel good about this victory. Comment on asking about the qualities the grandmother represents. It appears that she is a submitted kind of person, very passive, always in the shadow of her husband. This is easily recognized by the dreamer as a projection of his own tendency to submission. The dream here suggests it is an external force, the thief, unknown, coming from the outside, that seeks to get rid of that weakness. The dreamer himself is in conflict with that external condition. And in this case, indeed, it appeared that he was forced to take action by a situation that he first resisted, but then accepted. He felt he had taken on the challenge and moved away from a tendency to inactivity. What exactly this refers to, we're not going to look into. This is his own personal issue. Here, a man, 43, I seem to be hovering above a scene, like flying above a scene at dawn, early morning. There is an ambulance. It stopped in a meadow that slightly slopes towards the left, and I see a few people taking two shafts out of the ambulance. There are dead bodies on the shafts. These bodies have been burning. They are incandescent, still like burning ashes, like pieces of wood in full combustion. There are no flames, but I can see the intense glowing heat of the burning inside. The people are carrying the shafts towards a small lake or a pond down the meadow on the left. They seem to have the intention to throw the burning bodies in the water. And I think they shouldn't do that. It is better to let them burn down completely. If they throw them in the water, these bodies will not fully disintegrate. Then I wake up. If you want to, you can practice reformulating this dream and then move on. Before I give you my reformulation, let me remind you that dead corpses will indicate the past, something that has died but is not fully gone yet. Like a scar on a skin, there is a trace of an ancient pattern. Whether it is frightening or not, dead corpse represents an unwanted presence in the subject's inner environment, in the person's, dreamer's inner environment. It needs to be further worked on and transmuted. Fire is a metaphor for this process of transmutation. So, any dead body, if you see it, it's not the same as somebody has died and disappeared. Here you have a dead body. The dead body is a remnant, something that is left over. It's not totally gone. So you have to further transmute, work out the transformation. So in this dream, I am dealing with subconscious memories that are surfacing in my awareness. Down indicates coming out of the night, which refers to the subconscious, the part of our being where there are hidden things unseen, but now coming into a better awareness, some light. I noticed two ancient issues, the corpses, that are in full process of being transmuted, burned. Transmutation, a process of transformation, released out of my inner environment. However, some parts of me seem to be doing things that will prevent these ancient memories to fully disintegrate. They drag these elements back into my emotional being, the pond, where they will remain as dead stuff, possibly polluting my inner environment. I am aware of that, and I think this should be avoided. Comment: there was an invitation here to identify these issues and allow them to be fully transmuted, which needs to be checked against specific situations happening at the time of the dream. Dreams normally don't refer to the real person they represent. We know that. They represent specific qualities that we project on them. It's the same thing when we deal about dead people. If dead people, people who have died, appear in our dream, we may think this is a projection. Here we have to be careful. Exceptionally, in our dreams, it may happen that we dream about people who have died, and in that case, it might refer to the real person. And we have usually strong feelings about the death of someone that will occur or somebody who has already passed away. Let's look at a few examples. This is from a woman, 32. In my dream, I receive a call from my grandmother. She is telling me, Grandpa died. I wake up with some certainty that this is true. The same morning, sure enough, my grandmother called to tell me that he had died that same night. So in this example of a real communication with the outside world, we have the grandmother coming up in the dream giving that news. There is a phone call. So the phone call is a signal, a sign, an element that indicates that there is a connection, a communication with the outside reality. So here, indeed, it was just sort of a psychic perception of something that happened related to somebody dying. When characters appear in our dreams that in reality have already passed away, then of course there is no relationship with death or dying, since they are fully alive in our dreams. We just have to deal with these characters in the same way as we deal with other actors in the dream. The question is, what part of ourselves are they representing? However, it may also happen that we have dreamlike experiences that involve meetings with ones who have departed in our dreams. We know that they have died, but we're still in touch with them. This is not exactly the same kind of topic. It's not really about dying because they are fully alive in our experience. This can happen. Let's look at an example. I am with my beloved wife who died some months ago. She was more refreshed, more purified and radiant than I have ever seen her. It seems it wasn't really like a usual dream. We were there closely together, sharing a moment of love. It was just a moment of bliss, which I can still feel in my heart now. Her specific vibration was so clearly identifiable. I wasn't surprised. It felt totally natural. After that experience, I woke up. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I felt thankful and at peace, and I went back to sleep. So this is just an experience that brings us beyond the dream experience. It's not just a dream, it's another type of experience. We will come back on this kind of um, dreamlike experiences that happen during our sleep, but that are actually not really dreams. They are communication experience, and they have these specific characteristics of feeling very real. They don't show specific events or environments with objects, things that happen. It's just an experience of being together, feeling closely connected, possibly having an exchange, a conversation, of which we can or may not even remember the content. It's just a moment of togetherness. It's an experience, and it's of a different nature than our dreams. Not really a message, not really metaphorical, not really wanting to bring us anything else than just an enlightening experience. There is a huge benefit we get from these experiences. They are bringing us in an inner space of peace because we understand that the reality is far beyond what we think, far more beautiful than what we think. So, this is it for today. We're going to keep it here. We still have a few more interesting subjects, topics to look at in next units. See you then. Bye bye for now.